Hello everyone, welcome to Rob's Gaming Table. I'm Mel, and today on the table I am going to start painting the Descent Legends of the Dark Betrayer's War minis. I'm super excited for this. I want to first thank Rob for setting me up in this little corner, so you may notice it looks a little bit different. It might sound a little bit different as well. So Rob took some time and made like a little painting corner for me. He set up some old equipment, some old lights and mics and stuff, and I am good to paint in this little area. And I wanted to do that live. I wanted to paint with you guys, chat with you guys while we paint, discuss games, whatever we want to talk about while we paint. My idea for this is, as you notice, this is part one. I want to slowly go through and paint the minis from the game. I want to kind of start with enemies first. I think I'm going to leave characters till last because we do have the characters already painted from the base game. So we can use some of those if we did want to get going into the game, but I think the enemies are what we really need to start with. So that's kind of what we're gonna like slowly work through each enemy type. Sorry, I just want to ask Rob, can you, I don't know why that's like that. Maybe oh, you know why that's like that?
Because you selected it, just click somewhere else.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. As we said, this is kind of a new setup and I'm kind of doing things on my own in a different area. So things are a little bit different. So I want to say hello to those of you watching live. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today. Ninjared's in here, says hi Mel, Minion, hi, Dragon, good evening. Nice to see you stream painting. I know I have been asked, where are my painting streams? Well, now that I have this little setup, they are back. Now, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like in terms of like what day or anything, but I now have this setup. Rob doesn't have to rip apart our whole gaming setup for me to paint. So this makes it a lot easier. I can kind of go live and paint whenever I want. I also want to use this as, let's say for example, I only need to paint one mini for a game. Maybe it's like a token marker or whatever. I can then just easily pop in a stream. We can paint it and be done. So, and I don't always know if I'm going to paint through like a whole series of a game each time. I did it with the Spreading War expansions for Journeys of Middle-earth. I painted through the whole thing on stream. I think that's the only one I painted through fully. I want to do that with this game. And then we're going to kind of go from there on what this kind of looks like. So if you guys are liking these painting streams and you want to see more of them, hit the like button for sure. That'll let me know that you guys want to see more painting videos. I also want to say that we are streaming in 4K, so if you have the capability of watching in 4K, make sure you turn that on so you can see those minis in high quality. You'll also be able to see any of my little errors, I guess, in higher quality. And in setting this up, I just want to let you guys know things are going to sound a little bit different. They might look a little bit different. This is like an evolving process. Rob took a bunch of his equipment and he set this up. We did, however, have to get another camera because our overhead camera wasn't working out for what we wanted. So we did spend some of the funds. Thank you so much to, I definitely want to give a shout out to C. Mitch and to Janet, who during the month of October, they donated to the channel for the paint stream specific. So I wanted to make sure that they get a huge shout out because thank you so much for that. We were able to upgrade our above camera and we'll slowly be working on upgrading some of the other equipment. Speaking of Janet, Janet is in the chat right now. It says, yay. First member for 31 months. That's insane. Thank you, Janet. Yay, Mel, painting stream. I know. Thank you so much. Painting stream brought to you by Janet. So thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly catch up on the chat here because I'm like rambling. I'm so excited. I have so much things to get off my brain before I get painting. But Locator Gaming, hello. David, hi. And Rob says, I apologize in advance for any quality issues. This is an evolving project. Thanks for understanding. So yeah, so thank you again for understanding that we're going to slowly work on upgrading this setup as we go. I think also Rob wants to see like, how often am I painting? Is it even worth it? We don't want to spend a bunch of money and upgrade this setup and then I don't really paint on stream, or it like happens like once every 6 months, kind of like what it was happening previously. But I think Rob having to take the whole paint or the whole gaming table set up and like rearrange everything for me to paint made me kind of also not want to do it on stream as often because I didn't want to interrupt him. It interrupted our flow. But this now is going to be like my corner of the office where we can paint and stream live with you guys. So Dragon, thank you so much for becoming a producer to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know if that popped already. I have the chat over here, so I apologize. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hashtag mini painting in 4K. Yes, yes. Thank you. Loktar says, dedicated spaces are awesome. Husband points for Rob. No couch monster for a while. Yes, I know. I know. Rob put a lot of effort and work into this. So thank you to Rob as well for taking the time out of his work where he could be streaming and doing other things for you guys to set this up. So hopefully you guys like this. We'll get into the painting shortly, I promise. Darwal, thank you. Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I just wondered how many times it is said that Rob is extremely lucky. He has a wife who plays games instead of nudging him as she's painting them. Yes, so I definitely, Rob, I guess, is lucky. Yeah, I think people tell him that all the time. Yes, Rob is telling me to slow down. I know I had all these things in my head about what I wanted to say off the top, so I apologize for just kind of rambling them out. I'm going to slow down. We have all night. We're going to start painting some of these minis. I can also talk to you guys during that once we start painting some of those. I would be curious, anybody that's watching here live or anybody that's watching later, have you painted this game or are you playing this game? I know this is an expansion for the first game, Descent Legends of the Dark, so I know expansions are not always played as frequently as base games, so I'd be curious if anybody's playing this or painting this. I'm in the process of painting the base game. Nice. Nice. Hi, Yogi. Who is Rob? Never heard of him. I don't know. He's just some guy that helps with like the tech and the audio around here. Okay. So let's kind of get into what we're doing tonight. So I first also want to give a shout out to Dustin. He in the Discord, when he started playing this, one of my biggest, I guess, not complaints, but I like to paint, I guess we can call it like paint by numbers. I like to take an image, see the colors, take that inspiration and put that into my mini because I guess I'm not really creative. So when Dustin started playing, he took images from the game because there's no real images out there of what these minis are supposed to be looking like color-wise. The other thing is, because we play on stream, I like to try my best to make the colors match so that when a mini's on stream, you guys overhead can tell which mini's which. Especially sometimes some of the minis look similar. So Dustin put in the Discord, not all of them, but some as he was playing through. So that's definitely where we're going to start. So thank you so much, Dustin, for doing that because I was kind of like, oh, I don't know what colors. Some of them you can tell are, let's say, I guess, expanded on or maybe different models to the base game. So those ones you're like, okay, I can use similar colors to what I used. Now, I don't remember when I painted the base game if I used Army Painter speed paints. I don't think I did at that time. So we're going to vary things up. We are going to use some Army Painter speed paints on these minis. I think that will help with getting some of the minis done faster. I like the way that it looks as well. And then, so the colors may not be exactly the same match to the base game, but we'll do our best and we'll have fun with it. Let's see. Jacko, hello, hello. Oh, David said, I'm finishing Act 1 this weekend and it's painted. I'm going to get Act 2 in February and paint them. Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, Yogi's in timeout, says Rob. Okay, so what we're going to paint today is, again, we're going to start with the enemy minis. We're going to leave the characters, we're going to leave the dragon for later, okay? I need to build up my confidence to the dragon, so we're not going to touch that right now. Now, we do have these little lizard-looking guys. These guys are maybe like 2 colors. These guys are going to be easy. Speed paints are going to make this super easy. So I think we're going to definitely start with these 2 minis tonight. And then we're going to start working on some of these minis. I first also have to say, I love these minis. The quality, the detail in them, I love painting these. So I'm super excited to be able to do this on stream. So this mini is very, very, very similar, to this miniature. A little bit of a different stance. So I'm going to use, just looking, maybe I did use speed paints on that. So we're going to use a lot of the same colors for this miniature as we do for these models. And these models, we have 4 of them. I also wanted to bring out this one, not the same, but again, similar colors. So I think it's like similar factions. So we're going to use some of these similar colors when we do these minis. But I think we're going to start with our lizards. We're just going to get in the flow. I like to, get myself warmed up, I guess. So again, thank you guys for joining. All right, so we're just gonna put, I have one. We're just gonna put these guys on some handles. Actually, it's actually good that we pulled these out because I wasn't 100% sure what color I did the bases, which it just looks like I did in black. Sometimes I do them in a gray, so oh, Kyle's here. Wonder when it'll get played in my group as well. I know, Kyle, I'm so sorry, but at least the painting has begun, so that means that we are one step closer to playing this on the channel. I also think that Rob mentioned that there are links down in the description below for our playthrough of the base game, so you can check those out if you haven't seen them. Metallic speed paints. Okay, so actually before we start, I think in the previous paint streams, what I would kind of do is talk about any new paint stuff that I purchased. And I did pick up the metallic speed paints. I like them. I think we'll get a chance to use some of them in this series with the one set of, they almost look like knights. We'll be able to use some of them. They're not my favorite. I find them very watery. But I like them. I think to start, and maybe we'll get a 2.0 series of those as well with some improvements, but I like them and I like where they're going with them. So I'm happy. But the 2.0 ones are okay. Yeah, I like the 2.0. I did get some. I didn't pick up all like a big set or anything, but whenever I go to our local game store, I tend to pick up a couple just different colors so that I can vary my color range that I have. So actually first what we'll do is we'll look at an image. This is an image that Dustin sent me. So this is kind of what we're going to base. I don't obviously have exact colors. We're going to do the body in like a lighter green, and then the top part we'll do in like I'm thinking a gray, maybe like a darker gray. So those are what we're looking at. And then it looks like there is some like clouds coming up. So we'll use some of our whites and off-whites and maybe a little bit of dry brush of blue. It looks like on that top part, there's a little bit of blue in there. And then we'll do some detail with the eyes, and it looks like maybe some blue or purple inside the mouth. So this is kind of what I am referencing when we paint these guys. I forgot how challenging it is to, and like Rob is so good at it, to talk, read chat. Usually I get to sit and read chat while Rob is talking, That's a challenge that I forgot about. So I apologize. I will get to reading your messages in a second. I just want to get my paint going so we can start the process, because if I just sit here and talk all night, we'll never get anything done. Because I definitely want to say hello to those of you that are joining. So I just have my paints off to the side here. I'm just looking at some of the different greens that I have. And we can kind of see what we have going on. I think this one might be too bright for what we're looking for. I also can mix some of these. I do like the mixing of speed paints. I think that works out really well. And I think that's all the greens that I have. Oh, one more. Okay. One color paint stream, yes. Okay, so quickly just going to catch up on here in case I didn't say. Michael, hello. Greg, hello. Paragon, hello. Good luck painting. Thank you so much. Larry, hello. Thanks for sharing your painting with us. Thank you. Yeah, Rob is entertaining the chat. I know. Thank you. Thank you. I just need some time to get back into the groove of everything, right? All right. Now let's get out a tray. Okay. You're good to go. Yeah, we have, I guess Kyle and Rob are entertaining the chat for me, which is great. Thank you guys. So looking at the image that I had, and this is a new paint that I actually don't think I've ever tried. I'm actually thinking about maybe making a mix, like mainly this, maybe with just a drop to darken it. So I think that's what we'll try first. We're going to use some orc skin mixed with algae green. Oh, Michael says Kyle should put his money where his mouth is and do a painting stream. Oh my gosh, Kyle, would you ever paint? Oh, that's why you're saying one color paint stream. I get it. I'm behind. Painting is fun. I enjoy doing this. It's a little more nerve-wracking when you're painting for an audience, but because I'm not a pro, please remember that. I paint so our minis are fun looking on stream, not for any kind of competition of any kind. So know that going in. We're just doing painting for tabletop ready, not competitions. I'm going to put quite a bit because I'm going to do both at the same time. You can also, I actually like that green algae color. So I'll just leave these out so you guys can see what colors I'm working with at the moment. And because this is a larger size mini, I'm just going to get a bigger brush so that I can speed this up. So I think I will just use a size 3 brush. Can you paint mine if you enjoy it? So I can barely paint my own minis. I can't be offering to paint anyone else's. That's for sure. These minis have been staring at me. Like Rob unboxed it. You can see that on the channel. Rob unboxed it. I think the next day he primed them all up. And they have been looking at me since then. So I don't have time to be painting other people's minis. Okay. We're ready to put some paint on minis, right? Yeah, I think I like this. Again, my colors are not going to be exactly the same as our images, and that's fine. We're just looking for you guys to be able to tell what mini's which from above on stream. I know you guys are joking too about like about Kyle painting, and I'm sure there's maybe others who maybe haven't tried painting, but I do really like these speed paints just for how simple they are and they can get you started in painting. I'm going to try not to worry about being so perfect around the top because we're going to use a dark color on the whole top scale of the mini. So I think that we'll be able to quickly paint over that. So again, I hope you guys can see everything okay. Again, thank you so much for everybody that's watching and hanging out. Thank you, thank you. Greg, thank you so much. I don't know if this popped, sorry, but says welcome back. Thank you for the $10 donation or the $10 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, I am back. Thank you. That money will be used to improve what we have going on here, the stream setup in this corner office here. So thank you so, so much. Samantha says, your painted minis look great. Makes me want to try painting mine. LOL. You should try. Definitely try. As I said, using the speed paints is definitely a way just to get color on minis. I'll show you. Like, I don't think I'm going to use any colors other than speed paints on these guys. Maybe just for their eyes, because they have a little bit of a. There's Greg's super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe just for their eyes, I'll use a little bit of that yellow, like because I have some neat yellows that are good for like super bright eyes. But yeah, you should definitely try. It's fun. The other thing too is you may have at one of your local game stores, sometimes they'll have a paint night. So if you're not sure and you want to try without maybe having to buy a bunch of supplies, maybe you could try at a paint night or at a local event or something. I know one of our local game stores had that paint night, which is neat. So I hope everybody had a wonderful Halloween yesterday. If you have kids, that they had fun trick-or-treating. Hope your weather was good. We are now done with our October month, which was a lot of fun to play through all of our horror-themed games. But we are kind of excited to get back into playing some other things. We're scheduled to play Heat with Kyle. That's scheduled on the channel. If you want to set a reminder for that, we're going to play that tomorrow. So looking forward to playing some other stuff. Hopefully we'll get this to the table in a couple weeks. I'm not sure how long this will take me to paint these, but I'll do my best to go quick. Clearly Kyle is excited and wants to play, so I should hurry. Okay, and it looks like the face also is the same color. Okay. We'll do the face as well. And then we'll be able to move on to the other one. Again, I think I paint slower than most. Some people will probably be like, I could probably speed paint this in like 3 seconds. And I'm sorry. I need to get my speed up, and hopefully that will come with practice, and these streams will help then hopefully with that. I'm always afraid to make mistakes, but I have to remember with the speed paint, it's not that bad because I can just paint over it once it dries with some white, and then I can fix whatever I need to fix. Also, again, as I said, I'm not a pro by any means. I am definitely just like a basic mini painter. I paint for fun. So if you have any tips, if you're seeing me do something and you're like, Mel, it would be so much easier if you did this, please let me know because I love to learn how to do things better. Oh, I have missing a leg here. I see the chat's flying. You guys are talking about a storm. I can't keep up with that, but I see that Rob is chatting with everyone, so that's great. I'm gonna do these nails possibly in a different color and like a dark, but we'll just paint them with the green because then it'll be easier when I go over them. I won't have missed any spots. One mini takes me at least 12 hours over a week. You know what, Dragon? I could do exactly the same thing. I could spend hours and hours, even on a mini like this. I could spend hours. It's crazy. It's crazy. See, Mitch, hello, hello, hello. Says, I've never painted a mini. Oh, it's fun. See, Mitch, also, while you're here, I gave a shout out to you at the beginning, but I wanted to give a shout out to you now that you're here to say thank you so much for your super chat back in October, which helped. It went to a new camera that we're using, this overhead camera. So thank you so, so much for that. Alrighty. Okay. I think that's good. So again, we just have some speed paint on the base. We'll put a darker color on the top of him after. So we'll just leave him off to the side. We'll bring in the second one. Yes, speed paints give hope to the talentless. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think even me, I'm talentless. As I said at the beginning, I'm not creative. I can't look at a mini and go, oh, I envision what that will look like. I can't do that. I definitely, let's just put this off to the side so it's not taking up the focus. I definitely have to see an image or some, I don't know. I can't just come up with anything on my own. I'm not creative like that. But so I guess I would say I'm talentless a little bit as well. These speed paints definitely have helped. Because the other thing is, I feel like what's intimidating for a new painter, or what I think is intimidating for a new painter, is the fact of trying to dry brush minis and wash minis. I remember, or I'll never forget, like trying to wash my first minis and like I wasn't using the right colors. I still feel like I don't know what colors I'm supposed to be using. Like when I look at a mini and I'm like, oh, it's white or a gray mini. If you wash it, sometimes it looks dirty. Right front foot. Did I miss a foot? I did. Thank you. Thank you. Look at that. See, I put up there so you guys can tell me that I missed something. Alrighty, we fixed it. We got a right foot. Thank you. Sorry, but yes, what I was saying, where I was going with that was washing and drying minis is definitely something that can be intimidating when you first start painting. Like I remember minis that I looked at them after, I'm like, oh, after I washed them and then try to dry brush them, because again, if you don't dry brush them properly, you might have like streaks. It's hard to fix that too after you've painted a mini, depending on the color. So I remember being super intimidated. I definitely got some tips from people in the chat as they were watching, which was definitely helpful. But yeah, that can be. But I find with the speed paints, sometimes you don't even have to wash them because it fills in all of the crevices and gives it that look of depth. So. Apologize if I just go quiet for a little bit as I'm like concentrating. Is anybody painting anything currently? In the process of anything? One of the things I need to also get better at is in our Discord, we have a Mel's Mini Painting channel where people are sharing their painted minis, and I feel like I am slacking on that. I go in there often, but I don't post anything. I barely take photos of my minis. Maybe because I feel like they're on stream, so people see them, but I should definitely get in there more and start posting them. For those of you that don't want to watch through the whole stream. But definitely, yeah, definitely the photos in there give me inspiration as I paint through games that you guys have painted first. So keep those coming. Greg says, and never a silly question or a stupid question, says, sorry if this is a stupid question, but you normally paint the base color first and work your way out. The other colors are just easy to go on top, like eyes, for example. Yes, so usually that's what I do. I would paint, like I'll paint the base and maybe I'll put on screen again for anybody that was not here before. One second. This is kind of the inspiration that we're going with. So for me, I'm taking this bottom green as kind of like the base. We'll put the dark color on the top scales, and then I'll paint the eyes and the clouds and things as I go. But I think for this one, I'm starting kind of almost like from the bottom up on this one. I think it varies based on the mini that you're painting. But yeah, I don't think there's like a technique per se, but I do like to start with sometimes the color I'm going to use the most of. As I said, it's easy for me when I'm using speed paints to kind of fix mistakes by just grabbing some white paint and filling in. Again, I'm a slow painter, and one of the things is because I think I'm trying to always be so precise. So if I take, maybe I feel more accomplished if I take the color that is the majority of the mini, and I do that first, I feel like I'm getting somewhere, right? And then I can spend a little bit of time on that detail if I want, and if I feel like it will enhance the mini. Like sometimes I'm like, you know what? Actually, I think I'm done. Especially if I have to move on to others. But yeah, I think there's like no specific playbook, and you can kind of paint however you want. And take your time in some areas versus others. Maybe there is a playbook, and if there is, I don't know about it, but I just kind of, as I said, I learn as I go. I trial and error things. There's definitely channels out there that you can watch for tips and tricks and like how-tos. This I don't want necessarily to be like a how-to. I don't feel like I'm a teacher of painting. We're just kind of like, I'm painting, we're hanging out. You guys can ask questions. There's definitely people in the chat that are painters and can give you more of a technical answer, but it's more just like a chill hangout. But no stupid questions. Ask your questions. I also love it when you guys come in and say like that you don't paint, but you just want to hang out with me painting. I love that. That's awesome. And I think I was kind of talking about it in the beginning of the stream, but this kind of like painting that I'm going to do is going to be sometimes random. So like we're painting through this right now, but if for example a game comes in and we need 1 or 2 minis from it, you know, one of our streams may be painting those and then we come back to this. So we're just going to kind of like whatever I need to be painting to get to the table is kind of what these streams are going to be. So if that's something that you are interested in kind of just like hanging out with and watching, then hit that like button. Let me know that. Okay, I think, well, let's hold this one up too so that we can see that I didn't miss any legs or feet on this one. Sometimes when I look it on the screen, I can see better. If I miss anything on like the underbelly or anything, then that's fine. And sometimes too, I find with speed paints, when they dry, you might notice like little spots of white, whatever your primer was underneath. Also, these were primed in white. I'm not sure the brand. Rob did it. Some of the toes I feel like are not perfect, but that's okay because I'm going to go over those with black. So I think this one is the one that was drying. Oh, I can see like, so we can see right in there where it looks like I either missed or I probably missed. That's a big spot, so. All right. And I know people talk about with speed paints, like don't go over speed paints a second time. And I do agree with that. But I do find that you can kind of touch them up as long as you're kind of not like going through and like doing additional strokes of the paintbrush. So, okay, so we have our base color down. We're going to go over the top now. And I'm thinking for that one, we'll just use this Gravelord Gray. I think that will be good. I like this color on the top. Yeah, the speed paints are awesome. I love them. I'm actually just going to keep these 2 that I use just off to the side in case I need, like if I have more in my pot, but in case this dries up and I need to touch something up. Yeah, I like how they blend sometimes too. And I like how they mix together. You can mix speed paints together to get additional colors. Like this speed paint line obviously is still evolving. So there's not obviously as many colors as in their main line, but you can mix colors to make kind of like whatever color you want. Okay, so Michael has a great point here. Michael says 1 point with the speed paints is I'm always worried about squeezing out too much into the reservoir. Yes, I've done that many times, especially too if there's like an air bubble in it, and you just squeeze it and it's like, and like a ton of paint pops out. if that happens, I try to look at what minis I have primed and I go, oh, can I use this paint on any of the minis that I have primed and ready? If I can't, that's terrible because you can't really save it. But that does definitely happen. So this one is the one that's still drying. So we'll leave that one over there. And again, we're just going to do all of the top now with this Gravelord Gray. If this is not dark enough or the color that I want, then I might go over this with a wash to darken it, but we'll see in a second when I have one of them done. I probably should have put another color mixed in, like maybe like my darkest green, but no, I think it's gonna be fine. Again, we don't have to make it exactly like the image, but and I'll probably have to touch up, so these little clouds that are off to the side, I am getting paint on them. I'll have to touch them up with a little bit of white, but those we'll do at the very end anyways. So the other thing too, at least in the room that I'm painting in, I find that the speed paints dry really, really fast, which is great, so that it lets you kind of get to the next area. One of the things you want to definitely do when you're make sure when you're using speed paints is that they're dry. If you're going to use two colors side by side, so if I was painting a face and then I wanted to do hair, if let's say the face that I did first wasn't dry and then I try to do the hair, the colors are going to blend and mix together and may even bleed because as you see, the speed paints are really watery, and they'll like drip down and that could definitely cause a mess. So I like to make sure that whatever area I'm working on is dry. So that's why I like to do multiple if I can at the same time, or I'll do different sections of a mini. You know what? Oh yeah, that's fine. And that's just kind of how I've noticed with the speed paints. Why should you go over speed paints a second time, by the way? I think, yeah, so why should you not? Sorry, yes, it is a reactivation thing. So it will reactivate the speed paint and then you'll get like streaks and lines and weirdness. But I only find that that really happens when it's dry, if I go over it again when it's dry. And it depends on what you're going over as well. If I'm going over something that's flat, I mean, first of all, that's not where speed paints shine. Speed paints shine when you're using them on like textured minis like this kind of mini. Yes, they will reactivate and cause a little bit of a mess. But I try not to do that if I don't have to. Worst case, if I really made a mistake and I really wanted to fix it, I would just, after it was dry, I would go over it with whatever color the primer was. So like for example, white, and then kind of start again. All right. As I said, we'll fix some of the clouds. Like we can see, like I've definitely like got it on where I'm going to make the clouds. We'll fix that after. So I'm not really worried about that. We'll let that dry. As I said, I may go over this with a wash to darken, but we'll see. I like the way that that's looking right now. It's definitely showing that it's like a different texture as well. Make sure all the under. All right, put that one off to the side. I used a 2.0 Army Painter speed paints. I think the reactivation was one of the issues with the 1.0, but it's still something you run into if you're impatient. I agree. So it's definitely better in the 2.0. Yes. Do they have, I don't even remember, like, do they say 2.0 on the new ones? I don't even know if I have which color is a 2.0 because I just buy like random ones. Oh yeah, they do say. Because I was going to say, I don't know which ones of my set are 2.0, but they definitely have a 2.0 in there. So I can tell which is which. But yeah, definitely if you're impatient, yeah. if you don't let it dry. Because sometimes it'll just dry naturally, like as it settles, it'll like drip into the crevices on its own. So you don't want to play with it too much. Paul, I'm not sure if Rob is still here, but I think the email address that he has on his YouTube is the best way to contact him. And he says, I actually like the watery speed paints when I was painting one mini with wings. Yeah, like anything where it can like kind of like spread on its own. I definitely think that's where the speed paints shine. Oh, Mike also noticed that the 2.0 don't dry out as fast. Oh, I haven't noticed that. But that's awesome if that's the case. My biggest, one of my, I guess it's like a personal complaint. It's not even a complaint, it's so stupid. But when I am painting with the speed paints, sometimes in the reservoir, they look like the same color. And I have many times dipped my brush in the wrong color because it looks like these two browns look very similar, or this brown looks like this red. And it's just, I don't know. So I try really hard to like turn my wells with the color that I'm using because of it's a personal complaint. I don't know if anyone else has thought that same thing, but drives me bonkers. I know nothing about painting. What's activation? So when you're using the speed paints, actually this one's not a 2.0. When you're using the speed paints and then you go over it again, it reactivates whatever the formula is. I'm not like super technical on it, and there's probably like a video out there specifically about the reactivation, but it leaves like streaks and lines in it because of the formula of the speed paint. Again, I'm not 100% on like the terminology and everything, but it definitely causes like streaks and weird lines, and it doesn't like settle properly. And sometimes it'll even almost bleed it right off. So you're trying to paint and it's like taking the first layer right off. So everything around it is the color of your like your base color, and then you have these like where there's like no paint again. So now you're trying to fix that and it's just creating a mess. But you're new to painting, that's awesome. Welcome. Probably should have done more green on the back of this part, but that's fine. Okay. And I might put a wash on this. We'll find out in a bit. Okay. And then we're going to fully let these two dry before I do anything with the clouds, because I don't want to start painting. Like I need to cover some, you can see like underneath there where there's that black on there, and I don't want to start mixing in other colors in there. So this is kind of what we have right now. They're just going to be off to the side. They're going to be drying. We'll work on a little bit more of these guys later. But that's just like one coat of speed paint on there. I mean, that already, if that was all you did, and even the cloud part, if you just kind of put like a quick speed paint on that, like if that's all you did, that's so much better than the gray plastic minis on the board, right? I think so. That's why I think if you just want to try something start, you know, take a chance, see what happens. Okay, so as I said, we're gonna start painting these minis. Let me put on a base, it'll be easier to hold it up. And I'll show you, put this one on the base. We have a couple of images that we're going off of. One is this miniature, which is painted from the base. It's just a different stance. And this one has a crossbow. Actually, this one looks cooler, I think, personally. So we are going to use a lot of these same colors so that they look very similar. But I also have, where's my mouse? Right here. I also have, I'll show you this. This is an image, again, thank you to Dustin. So similar colors, and then we'll use some of the greens on the bow and arrow instead of making it brown. And just looking at what that is around the arm. Oh, it's actually a snake. Okay, that's cool. I can definitely see it better when I use my magnifying glass that I use. Okay, perfect, perfect. So this is kind of what we're going for with these minis. So in this enemy set, we have 4. Let me just move some things around, sorry. I think I have 4 bases. And again, I may not finish all of these tonight, but that's the good thing about this kind of like in a little series. We can just pick up where we left off and just kind of keep going into the next ones. So we have 4, and I'm going to kind of do all 4 at a time, like assembly line style, kind of like what we just did. So first thing I'm going to do for these ones, I think, I'm just debating, sorry. I'm just debating if I want to do the flesh color first or if I want to do the red wrapping, because then maybe I can fix, I'm thinking about the red wrapping first, because then if I get any of that red on the flesh, I'll have to fix it later. So I think if I just start there, because this has a lot of, I don't know how well you can see. So in between some of the wrapping, like you can see skin. I don't know how detailed I can make that. I probably won't. But even around, let's see, the legs, I don't know. But even in between, right? Like if I'm doing the wrap here and I get it on the knees, so I think it might just be better to start with the red and then I can fix that up similar to what we're doing with the clouds, right? Because that's the lighter color. Okay. So I'm just looking at our previous one and our image for similar colors, and I think I know what color I used here. Just gonna find it. Bear with me. Oh, I also have oh, you know what? I have a new color that I don't think I had. Where is it? I just had it in my hand. I thought I showed it. Need to think a better way for this. I have like a bone color. This is kind of like a, like reminds me of like a skeleton looking like deathly maybe this is it. Sorry. The hardest part, right, of painting a mini is picking what color you want things to be. Well, I thought I had another one, but maybe I don't. So I'm kind of debating between the Crusader skin, and I believe that's what I did. Okay, here I guess is the differences. So dropping things. This Crusader skin is what was used on the flesh of this miniature. Okay, and then the pallid bone is what was used on the flesh of this miniature. And looking at the image, I think this color might fit a little bit better, I think. So yeah, let's go with that. We're going to go with the pallid bone. And again, I shove these off to the sides. I'm not 100% what red I use, but we'll figure that out later. All right. Some of these are getting some flakes all over my reservoirs here. Okay. So that's the color that we're using right now. Oh, that's not even what I wanted to do. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my marbles. I wanted to do the red first. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But that's okay. That will still be good for a few minutes. Worst case, I'll do like 2 and then switch. So I think for the red, we'll go with the slaughter red, I think. I don't want it to be like blood red per se. So, oh my goodness. This is kind of like a darker red, which is kind of what I'm looking for. Okay, I'm going to use a smaller brush for this. This one is a Army Painter base coating brush. I like this one for doing smaller things, which I think the red wrapping is a little bit smaller. So just looking at my image as well. Now, in some areas, I'm probably not going to let it run as much. Some I will. But in areas when we get close to where the flesh is, I'll try so that it's not going to mess everything up. I will try to be more precise with that. It's already shaking. The good thing is when we're playing, these small little details you won't be able to see from up high. So it's only when I hold it up to you guys. Oh my gosh, just like totally went over that. Use some water to get that off. Before it dries. Lose control of my brush. And again, I'll try to fix it with a little bit of weight later. Okay.
One thing I have to do is I like hold my wrists together to steady my shaking hands, or put the mini on the table, or like resting on the table because my hands are shaky. Also, I'm looking through my glasses and a magnifier to help with the details. I find that since buying this magnifier, it's so much easier to paint. I can see more of the details clearly. Alcohol helps with paint shakes. I don't know about that one. Okay, let's do this part around the waist. Wouldn't alcohol make it worse? I don't know if you guys saw the dragon that comes with this game, but it's humongous, and I'm definitely slightly intimidated to paint that one. I mean, initially I thought, oh, we probably won't see it till the very end, so like there's no rush on that. We could probably start. But knowing FFG, it's probably a boss in like the first or second episode, but it only has like 10 health or something silly. Not a ton of alcohol, just like a glass. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that would help with like being nervous for painting on stream and like kind of like hosting this all by myself. That is kind of intimidating as well. Like usually Rob is here, right? He holds the conversation. Intimidating to play and to play against, yes. Or to paint and to play against, yes, I agree. Um, I'm sure he's gonna be a final boss that will crush us. But does a dragon bite? I guess we'll find out. Yes, minion, yes. I did think of that too. That even if we don't see the dragon for ages, like it'd be cool to have it in the background. Now, one of the things that we were talking about is kind of like the background of like this stream as well. Like we don't have green screen, it's not like set up the same. So like we could potentially put painted pieces in the background. Like I don't know if that would be interesting or what, but potentially that's an idea of like getting some sort of shelf or something like that. But um, as I said, we're going to kind of like evolve this and as we go. One thing I'm kind of excited for is, I mean, there's so many of us that any of you that paint right know that you probably have some games maybe before you started painting that you never painted or like that are sitting on your shelf, like you probably have like a backlog, right? Well, I'm excited like once the backlog is cleared, which hopefully these streams help me get stream or painting more often and get games painted faster, but to then pull out some of these games that we purchased before I started painting that I obviously have not painted yet because we've kind of just been painting games as they come in. That's kind of how things work here. They come in, Rob primes them and paint them, and then they come on stream. So it's going to be interesting to be able to pull some of those out and paint them. So it's not always going to be like the newest, hottest game or the newest Kickstarter or whatever that we're painting through. We might pull out some old stuff. There's some, one of the things I've always said to Rob is I would love, like I'm still kind of intimidated to do it, but I know how much he loves the original Dark Souls and how he played the game and he loves it. I would love to paint some of those minis or all of those minis from the base game and like display them. But I need those I would need to spend like hours and hours and hours on. They wouldn't be probably speed paints, they wouldn't be quick because I would want them to like look like amazing. Put them in like a case. So that's like a project that's on like my bucket list to do. But that would be neat if we ever got to a point where like we had nothing else to do or nothing else to paint, and it was like, okay, we're gonna tackle this project that I have that I've wanted to do for him since I painted my first mini. So, but I mean, like the backlog is not terrible, to be honest. It's not terrible, but there is games that are primed and ready to go. Backlog cleared? I don't understand. I know, right? That's, yeah, it like never ends. Yeah. And I'm not saying like I'm ever going to go back and paint like big games like Zombicide, for example. We have a couple things painted for that. I think we have like our bases painted for our runners so that we could tell the difference in the hordes. But like I'm not going to go back and paint that, but I definitely think we have games that I would love to go back and paint, and some of which are on our shelf of shame that we've never even played. So maybe like subconsciously we knew eventually Mel's going to start painting, so like just leave them on the shelf until that happens. I would love to know from like you guys that paint, do you wait until your game is fully painted before you play it, or will you still play a game that you're super excited for without it being painted? And then just kind of paint it later at your own leisure. Because now that we play on stream, it's like I hate, and jokes come in if we ever play anything that's not painted. I can't even remember there was one game that we played that was not painted. I can't even remember now what it is. I'm blanking. I feel like it was recently, like maybe before October. was like a game that we were only going to play like one time, so it's like not worth it. But even like the jokes of like, you're playing with unpainted minis. Oh my God. Oh, Dragon plays with gray. Okay. And then you just paint them later at your own leisure whenever you want. Paul says, how many Army Painter speed paints do you have to choose from for you to paint with? Curious if you have the complete set of 90. I do not. I have I don't even remember what they're called now. So I have the 1.0, I have the starter set, and then I had whatever was it the mega set? Um, that had like 50 paints. I have both of those. Some of them are duplicate colors. And then I picked up the metallics, which I still have in a little tray. And I think there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 of them in that. And then as I said, whenever I go to the game store, our local game store has like a deal. If you buy so many of them, like you get one free paint. So I always just kind of look at my paint selection of like what colors am I running out of, which ones do I use a lot of, and then add 1 or 2 new colors to the collection. So I would probably say I have, I don't know, exactly. Like maybe it wasn't 50 in the mega set, it was like 20, or maybe it wasn't even a mega set. I don't remember what it's called. I'll have to look that up. I'll look that up and get back to you. But so yeah, I probably have like a total of 50 speed paints to pick from, and then I have Army Painter regular paints, probably another 50 of them, I would say, and that's just a complete guess. I have no idea. No idea. And then some of them are duplicates that I have that I know are running out. So I just kind of have them off to the side. I saw in one of the painting groups that I'm in, they use a nail polish holder, which I do use the plastic nail polish holders, but they use one on the wall. See, Mitch, thank you so much for the donation. $25 super chat. Thank you. Just showing support for awesome painted minis. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you. But yeah, they had them on the wall, and they probably could hold like 100. And you just kind of like pick what you want. That was such a cool setup. I don't know if that's something that we would ever do here, but yeah, so I don't know how many I have exactly. But I like variety, that's for sure. How do I feel about the use of metallics? So I talked about it a little bit earlier. I picked up the metallic set. I like them. I don't believe that they're perfect, but again, they were probably like, they're probably new, and they're probably going to come out with like a 2.0 or like an upgrade of those as well once they get feedback from people using them. I find that they're pretty watery. And some of them, the color holds better than others. So some of them are really thin and faint, even on white. So I don't love them, but I do like them for what they are, and I want to support them because I think that they could be great. So, and maybe again, I just need to use them better. So one of the things that I've always done is when I use metallics, I like to paint the mini or prime the mini with black, because I find that basic metallic really looks nice over top of that. But I think that with these metallic speed paints, I don't think that works at all. I think you need to have them painted on white personally, but so I don't love them, but I like them. And I was saying too in the beginning of the stream, I think I have some kind of like night looking enemies that are in this box. So we can try some of them and I can show you some of the differences so that you guys can have an idea for yourselves. But I just don't think they're like as strong and vibrant as they could be. But again, we may see eventually an upgrade or another line of them. Oh, and yeah, some people love them and some people hate them. I definitely could see why people wouldn't like them. Yeah. But again, I'm only painting for like the table, right? I don't know that if you were painting for some kind of like to be judged or in a tournament or anything, I wouldn't use them. So I think maybe that's why. So some of the people that paint and put them for display, they may not love them because they're not as vibrant, they're not as great as a regular metallic paint, in my opinion. But I like them for what they are in the speed paint line for people that want to get minis to the table quick and want to have like some shine to them or glisten. I think they are definitely fine for that. So depending on what you're using them for, I think they could be good. So it'd be interesting, as you said, some people hate them. It'd be interesting to know their reason for why they don't like them and what they're using the speed paints for. Um, I think they look best over the Zenithal Prime, but they're still not the best they could be. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. Like I like painting anything that's metallic, or like if I'm going to do like a knight, I usually ask Rob to prime it in black, or the Zenithal as well would work too, depending on what I'm looking for. But I definitely can see why some people may not like them because they're definitely not the same. And I think people had high hopes for them. And that was the other problem, right? Like when you go into it thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be the best thing since sliced bread. And then they look at it and they're like, it's okay. Then they're kind of like disappointed. I went into it really open and saying like, I really would love a metallic speed paint. And when they gave it to me, I was like, okay, I can use this. So I wasn't disappointed. But again, not a pro painter. So I am making a bazillion mess ups on this, but it's okay. Probably shouldn't have picked these guys first. I didn't realize how like intricate they were gonna be. When I looked at like this one, I'm like, oh yeah, it's only like 2 colors, 3 colors, it's no problem. But again, with these minis, they're so detailed. I can also try to clean up some of the lines later. So I'm just going to angle weird for 1 sec so I can try to go under the armpit here. Okay. Yeah, I think if people get their hopes up, right, for anything and then they try something and then they're disappointed, like that's a thing. I try not to do that in life. I try to like not set my bar low, but you know, I mean, usually not disappointed if I'm like going into it knowing or like kind of having an idea of what I'm going to get, especially to even like games, right? Like people are like, this is the best game ever. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know, maybe it might be, but it might also be garbage. Let's wait and see. But again, most of you guys know who watch the channel regularly. Like I'm pretty much like glass is always half full, even when it's empty. So oh my God. Just gonna go off camera for 1 quick sec, use my water to clean that up. Oh my God. Swipe my brush right across the face. Those weird angles is where it falls apart for you. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Once you start having to like flip under to go under like an armpit, you're like, I can't even see what my brush is painting. Yeah, I can definitely see why that could turn people off. And then again, like I said, these minis are super detailed. So it's like, yeah, I want to use these speed paints because I want to get the paint on the minis fast. But they're so detailed that I also want to make them look awesome because the detail's there to do that. But it's okay. Again, we're not like in a super rush. I ideally like sometime in November, like later in November, if we can get this started, that'd be ideal. So again, I don't know how often I can paint. This week, not as much as I would like, but now that this is all set up, potentially we can have a couple streams a week where we're just tackling these minis one at a time. There's like a hair. I guess another question for those of you that are watching live and anybody that's watching this later in the future, I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are on this. Like, so I do want to paint through the entire set, like paint like each mini on stream. Now, I don't necessarily have to paint each individual mini specific. Like, there's 4 of these. I don't need to paint all 4 on stream. If you guys are thinking that like, oh, it's kind of annoying to watch you paint the same like set all night. I'd rather watch you paint like 2 different ones. So like one of this and one of this guy. Like, is that what you guys would like more? Like, you know, 1 mini of each set so you get an idea of like the colors I'm using and what I'm doing? Or are you guys cool to just watch as I go through like each one? And that's a serious question because if you guys are like, it'll get boring, then I could paint the other 3 off stream and then just bring on stream one of them. Okay, I'm gonna let this one sit and pull out another one. We'll go and we're gonna do the same thing. I guess, again, I've made some mistakes and we'll try to clean up some of the lines, but this is kind of what we have going on. I'm not being super detailed. Like I can tell in the wrapping around the legs, like there should probably be some skin showing in some of them. I'm not going that detailed because again, from where you guys are seeing it as we're streaming, we're not going to see that because when I have it sitting on even like this, like it still looks awesome. So I'm not super worried about it. Okay, let's pull this one in. We'll start on that one. I think I'm actually going to get a smaller brush than what I'm using because that might help me just be a little bit faster if I'm able to be a little bit more precise. Yeah, let's go with where's my number on this one? There we go. A 2/0. Oh, Paul says, I'm using the same hard plastic palette Mel's using right now and only recently switched to a pop-up popper silicone fidget toy palette. I would never even think of that. Does the paint clean up nice in that? Oh my God, I never would have thought of that. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so Minion says I'd paint whatever needs to be painted, even if it means the paint, like we're painting all the same mini. Okay, that's good. David, also, I don't mind watching you paint the same mini throughout the stream. Okay, that's awesome. Good to know. And for this one I did, as I said, I brought those dragon or like lizard dragon things out just also to warm myself up a little bit and because again, painting on stream makes me a little bit nervous. You know, you're putting yourself out there for people to judge you, which is fine. I have thick skin, judge away. I don't fully care. But it makes me a little bit nervous of like what people could say. And then streaming and like talking with the chat and making sure like I'm not boring, like sitting in silence. I'm trying my best to not sit in silence while you guys are watching. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. I'm not obviously able to read every single message, and I apologize if you asked a question and I completely missed it. I'm not ignoring you, I promise. It's just it's a lot to like keep track of. I think too, as I do it more, I'll get better at it. But and then sometimes I need to stop saying I say that too much. I need to mentally stop that, and I need to stop talking so fast. Oh my gosh, Minion says, I literally just used a simple bathroom tile I had laying around as a palette. That is amazing. So like the varying things that people use. Dragon uses a piece of I use a Ziploc bag with a piece of cardboard in it to keep it stiff. Like the the amazing imagination that people have and the creativity. Oh my gosh, I just got a pack of probably like 20 of these off of Amazon. So yeah, when they get like some of them get super crusty and then I just throw them away. But they were not very expensive to get a pack of them. I would never think to use some of the things. Okay, so Michael also agrees with the silicone poppers are the bomb and are so cheap on Amazon. Okay, so I just guess I would have thought that like when paint dries in there, maybe it would be hard to remove, but oh, I'm gonna look into this. Oh, see, Mitch, you are so sweet. I'm here for social hour and to show Mel's support. She's our favorite Canadian after all, so I don't care what's getting painted. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Oh, you can't take credit for the idea. Okay, that's fine. But I might take it. Maybe. We'll see. That's interesting. Yeah, I would never have thought that that would be something I would even think to use. I don't even know if we might even have one laying around. Come to the channel to judge Rob. He's not here right now to judge him. He has thick skin now. You guys know that. Negative comments don't really bother us. Because there's so many positive ones like you guys. So okay, here's a serious question for those of you that are watching live. Also, I just looked over and saw that we have 40 likes on the stream. Thank you guys so much. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the love and support. You guys are awesome. But this is a serious question for those of you that are here live. If you're watching later, feel free to drop your answer in the comments below. But what are your thoughts about Thanksgiving? I mean, Halloween is now over. I want to put my Christmas tree up so badly. I love putting, like, I always say, oh, the day after Halloween, I'm putting my tree up. Obviously, I had work today and then we're painting, so like it's not happening today. But do you guys like to put your Christmas tree up? How early do you guys like to put your Christmas tree up? Am I the only one that likes like to put it up as soon as possible? I know some of you may not have a Christmas tree, may not celebrate. So this is only for those of you that this pertains to. Yeah, Rob doesn't have thick skin, he has hide. I know, right? And we don't get that many negative comments, so it's not terrible, but every now and again. Some people may watch, especially with Rob, they may watch like for the first time and they don't get his sarcasm or his attitude. Oh, do what makes you happy. I agree with that. I like that. Wasn't Canadian Halloween like 2 months ago? I know Canadian Thanksgiving was last month. Yeah, Thanksgiving was last month. And I know some people in the US, I've heard that they don't put their Christmas tree up until after Thanksgiving, which that's fair. But we've already had our Thanksgiving here. So I'm like, I don't know. I just love Christmas. I love the mood it puts me in. I love everything about it. I love spending time with family. I love all of it. Um, so I just like to put my tree up. Like having Christmas lights on, like, you get home, you have dinner, clean up, whatever, you just have Christmas lights on in the background of your house. Like, I just love that feeling. I'm only talking about this because Halloween just ended and yeah. Paul says ours is already up yesterday. It's my house and there's enough misery in the world. Yes, that's amazing. Okay. Yes, I love that. I love that. Heather puts hers up after Thanksgiving and it stays up until February. See, I usually take mine down before going back to work. I usually take I don't take much vacation throughout the year, and whatever vacation I have left, I usually throw it on to the holidays. So our work closes for 1 week, um, between like for Christmas and New Year's. So I will pad any other days I have. So I'm usually off for like two in the past 3 weeks at Christmas time, just using up all the rest of my vacation days, personal days, anything like that. So we go back, usually I go back, usually like whatever after New Year's, whatever the Monday or Tuesday will be after that. And I like to have my Christmas tree down before I go back to work. If I don't, I feel like I'd leave it up forever, just out of like sheer like I don't want to take it down and being lazy. But that's me. So I like to put it up super early and then take it down while I'm off before I go back to work in January. Oh, Paul says 8 plus weeks of higher electricity bill. But for me, I feel like I turn a lot more of my other lights and things off. I mean, I guess if you have lights on the outside of your house and all of that, then yeah, I could see that being a thing. But inside, I'll turn everything off and just have like, well, like if we're watching TV or something and we just have like the Christmas tree on, that's it. Oh my God, Jacko, I love this. Says our Christmas trees in our front room we rarely use. We never took it down last year. I love that. Oh my gosh, you know what else I saw? I saw a post in some sort of group that I'm in. I can't remember even where it was. It might have even just been Reddit. And it was somebody who had their Christmas tree up and they put it up like early October and they just put a white sheet over top with like big black eyes on it. And it looked like a ghost. So then after Halloween, rip the sheet off, your Christmas tree's up and ready to go. I don't think it had any decorations on it. You couldn't see any decorations through the white sheet, but it looked like they just had lights on it. And it looks super cool. Okay, so I'm not the only one. So, okay, good to know. Oh my gosh, it's too bad there aren't more Christmas board games. I'm excited actually that you brought that up. So I have, thank you to Jana. Jana, I don't know if you're still here, but I have the exit advent calendar. So Janet picked that up for me at Gen Con and gave that to me there. So I'm super excited. We're going to play that at the holidays. Um, I'm not sure if we can stream that or like how that'll work, but we're definitely going to play that over the holidays, which is going to be super fun. We also got Santa versus Krampus Dice Throw. So we're gonna play that at the holidays. That'll be fun. But yeah, like Christmas board games, I don't know that there's too many. But I'm excited for those. If there's other ones that we're missing, like, let me know. Yeah, it was super cute, super cutesy. I thought it was so cute. Yeah. I know, Jan is so sweet. I was just talking about it, and then she went and picked it up for me when we were there. So sweet. But I'm so excited to play it. And it's funny because even as we were shaking like it's in the bag, you can hear like the jingle bells. Oh, David's got it as well. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to try that. And then there's others. So if we like that one, then we can pick up other ones. I think there's 3 of them total. A Die Hard game would be sick. Is there a Die Hard game? Or you're just saying that'd be cool, kind of. I think it's funny story. I think I watched, if it was this year or the year before, that I watched that for the first time ever with Rob. Can't remember when that was, but it was recent. All underneath here, like I can tell there is probably some flesh showing, but again, we're not going to be able to see underneath when we're streaming, so I'm not even going to try to bother trying to make it perfect of all where it's wrapped and where it's skin. We're just gonna fill it all in. Oh, it has minis in it too. Oh my gosh. 9 rough looking minis. Oh my god, I'll have to look at that later. That is funny. I'd never heard of that. Is it a Prospero Hall game? I only ask because don't they do like a lot of the licensed games? Grinch game. Tell me your address and oh sorry, there's a heart there, I can't see it. And I rob you on Christmas Eve. Oh, I get it. I get it. Sorry, I didn't. Yep. Nope. Thank you, Dragon. I love this heart button, but it gets in the way. It's annoying. 3 of them? Oh. Oh. 2001 was Snowy Mountain themed. 2022 was Santa's Golden Book, and 2023 is Santa's Workshop themed. Oh. Oh, those are the. Oh, yes. Sorry. I'm having 2 separate conversations with you guys, I guess, right? The Die Hard and then the advent calendar. Yes, okay. There was a Christmas game that we looked at that was on the Gen Con list. I feel like it was called like Santa's Workshop or something. It's the only other Christmas game I remember. But I also think that the company that's making that game is going out of business, but they are going to print that game only or something. I don't remember all the details of that, but I remember hearing something. Here's another question for you guys. Do you guys like to paint only games? I'm just gonna try to move this. Only games that have like decent minis, or does it matter to you? Like, will you still, as you're saying, I'm only thinking about because you're saying this, that this Die Hard game has like 9 rough looking minis. Would that be minis that you would still paint, or would you be like, these are kind of terrible quality, whatever, we'll just play with the gray plastic? So, does the quality of the mini influence whether you will paint it or not? Is my question. For me, to answer that question, doesn't necessarily mean I won't paint it, but it might determine how much time I spend on it. As I said, I'm already like a slow painter to begin with, so if the minis are kind of crappy, then I'm not going to spend a ton of time on them. Speaking of crappy minis, remember we were talking about earlier the game that we had played that had unpainted minis? It was Mansions of Madness. I'm just remembering now. I couldn't remember what we had painted or what we had played. Once we get all this red wrapping done, hopefully we'll be able to like speed through these minis a little bit faster. This is just the annoying part of like trying to be a little bit more precise because it's like small areas at times. We're again going to try to do under the armpit. Alrighty, just go to the other side. Oh, Jack says I really enjoyed painting Final Girl minis. The Stranger Things minis were more like a chore due to the quality difference. Yeah, but I liked painting. Here's the thing too. I liked painting the Stranger Things minis because I could put a face to what I was painting. Like they looked very similar to their character. So it was fun for me because I could, it's like I was painting something I knew. Like I don't know what this thing is, like some sort of wraith of some kind, right? But like what is that really like? But when I'm painting like Dustin or Eleven, like I can put my brain there. So it was fun. Even though the quality of the minis were not like great. So yeah, I think it was fun. I never painted the Final Girl. We don't have the Final Girl minis, but aren't those tiny? Oh, if the minis are rubbery, you won't paint them, Michael. Okay. Um, I'm trying to think if I've ever come across that. I feel like I have, but I can't think of what game it is. But I know what you mean. Okay, so I'm kind of seeing that in some cases that is the case, yeah. Yeah, FFG makes decent minis. Yeah, they're a safe bet. Like I paint them, yeah. Or 3D print your own. Okay. Oh, I won't ask that story. Okay, no problem, no problem. We've never 3D printed any minis, but I do like the FFG minis. They're okay. Minus, I don't like Mansion Madness minis. And that's why we don't paint those. Also, that's part of that backlog I was talking about of like, I don't think I'm ever going to paint that or, as I said, Zombicide. Like, those are just going to be unpainted forever, and I'm okay with that. All right, we got the red wrapping of this one done as well. Again, you can see like where I accidentally hit. No problem. We'll fix that later. Where did I get the mini holder from? I think I just got them from my local game store, but I think I'm not sure if these are sold on Amazon, but usually at your local game store, or I don't need to take that off, sorry. If they have paint supplies, usually they will have paint holders. I have 4 of this size, which is like I think their standard size, and then I have one which is I think considered their large, and it has multiple different ways that you can hold minis in here for big minis. And these are Citadel. Yeah, I'm not sure if they sell them on Amazon, but definitely at your friendly local game store that sells paint supplies usually will sell them as well. All right, next one. Oh, see, Mitch says I play solo and don't stream, so I've never painted minis. I think having painted minis on the table for a stream adds to the professionalism and the visual appeal. No, I think you're saying that right. It was a question that I had asked a while back when I started painting of like, does it make a difference for viewers? Like, not to say you're not going to necessarily watch, but does it make the experience more enjoyable? Like, it's maybe easier to visually see our characters, who's who, versus maybe other playthroughs or streams that you've seen. And for the vast majority, people have said, like, if you stop painting, like, it's not like we're going to stop watching, but we do like that effort that's put in. So, and because I like to do it, I just wish I could do it faster. But again, as you see, like I'm just slow normally, and I think it's me trying to be too precise, which hopefully I will work up my speed to get through some of these done faster. But yeah, overall people have said like, yeah, they like it. Visually it looks nicer on the table. I like playing with painted minis as well. I think it adds to the experience and in some cases the immersion of the game. And I think others, even those of you that paint but don't stream, like playing with painted minis on the table definitely just adds to the experience of the game, which is really cool. And I gotta say, it like feels so nice when we're playing something and someone will be like, "Oh, can you hold up that mini? It looks so cool." They want to see it like up closer. I love that feeling. It's like, yeah, I did that. That's the thing though, painting takes a lot of time, and anybody that paints understands. So I understand why most streams don't have painted minis on other channels because it's just a lot of work. I couldn't imagine like if, let's say, like, so for example, like it's me and Rob. So Rob does majority of the streams, he does a lot of the solo, he does all the behind the scenes. I just do the helping in the playthroughs on the weekends and the evenings and then the painting. But could you imagine if also Rob was trying to paint all the minis for all the games that we play? I feel like either like something would have to give, right? We wouldn't be able to either play as much as we do, or he wouldn't be able to paint. I mean, now or he would be like killing two birds with one stone if you do a paint stream, right? Because then you're kind of like hanging out with people and getting something done for the channel as well. So that's why this is fun, right? Because we get to hang out, we get to do this, and then you guys get to see these minis in action when we play, which is always cool. I also like these streams because I feel like we can kind of like talk about whatever we want, right? Because we're not in the middle of a game. So if someone has a question about something, you can ask because we're not in the middle of a game and it's like derailing the stream. This is kind of just what this is. It's just like a hangout. I can't take a channel seriously now unless they have painted me. Oh, that's funny. I think it's few and far between, right? Like, unless it's a channel that maybe just focuses on one or two games. Because it's hard to paint for every game, unless maybe if you're playing like maybe not as many games that have minis, but I feel like on this channel we play a lot of miniature games like dungeon crawlers, things like that have a lot of minis and enemies and that. So um, I have time. Ask your questions for sure. Um, what is involved in pre and post painting? Is priming just dunking or spraying? Is there protective transparent layer afterwards? Okay, yes. So one funny thing is I am the painter and Rob is the pre and post person. So he gets all the minis ready. I will help him wash the minis. So for example, for these minis, Rob did an unboxing. Right after the unboxing, we washed all the minis, getting any of like oils or anything off of them. Once they're dry, Rob primed them. He has an airbrush that we use to prime, but we also in the past have used can primers. And that sets the mini so that all the paint will stick to it. Then I paint the mini. Once it's fully dry, we usually leave it for a couple days. Then Rob will spray like a varnish on it. Sometimes we'll add a gloss depending on the mini. Like if it's like something that maybe has like blood or something that we want to look like slimy or we'll add gloss to it. If it's like an alien, for example. But yes, so there is the pre, which is the priming of the mini. Like also we wash the minis to get any oils or anything off of them. And then there is painting. And then after, you're right, we do put a layer of varnish and gloss and that on the mini to help protect them. And that's just for the handling of the minis so that we like the oils from our fingers and that don't ruin the paints. But yes, please ask any questions you have. I may not always be able to answer them, but we definitely have time to just answer questions in the chat, so. Oh, no problem, no problem. Ask any questions you have. Also gives me something to talk about when I'm not sure what to say. Can't wait to finish all this red. You know, when you're doing like assembly line painting, sometimes it's like frustrating. You're like, oh, I just want to be done with this. I feel like you're doing it so many times, like over and over. Blue Dawn and warm sudsy water is good for the initial wash. Yeah, then do a strainer if possible, so rinse them. Yeah. So we usually also use like dish soap, and we really rinse them as well to make sure that we get all the soap off, and then we dry them for a while before priming them. And I didn't know that washing your minis was a thing. Like I didn't even realize. So as I said, Rob does all of it, like the pre and the post for the minis. And one time I was like, and he was doing it. I didn't know that you even needed to do that. And I didn't know why he was even doing it. I had to say, like, what are you doing this for? Carrie says I use the bathtub, just got to remember to remove them before taking a bubble bath. Yeah, exactly. It's like stepping on a Lego, right? Some, I'm sure, are worse than others. Like, as you'll see, the dragon that's in this box is like sharp, and there's things that point out and stick out everywhere. Like, it's constantly like sticking and like digging into my hands when I was holding it. It also doesn't fit on my base. I tried it on the big base that I showed a few minutes ago. It doesn't fit on that, so I think I just have to hold it in my hand while I'm painting it, or like set it down maybe. Okay, I think this one is good as well. Yep, so we have the red on this one. And we have one more. Yes, so Seema's just saying different priming techniques can have a different effect as well as using different colored primers. So I agree with you. So as I was saying, I like to use the like a dark primer, like a black, if I'm doing any kind of metallics or metals. The zenithal has been fun. We've done that before. However, I do like the white primer for the speed paints. I just like the way that it makes the colors pop. Zenithal still is good as well for that, but I prefer. So usually Rob will say like, what colors do you want the minis primed? And 90% of the time I just say, oh, just the white. Unless I'm using metals, then I'll ask for black primer. But we have used in the past. We've used red primers. We've used like a skeleton bone or like a green, like zombie flesh kind of color. Just depends on the mini that you're painting and like what you're looking for. But yeah, like there's so many different things you can do, which is crazy. It's like I always say it's like a hobby within the hobby, right? Painting. And for me, I feel like there's so much I can learn still. But I find for myself a lot of it's just trial and error. So I'll just do something and I'll be like, oh, I didn't really like that, but it's fine. Next time I know. Don't do that. And at the top of my head, I can't think of anything that like any examples of that, but that's usually just kind of how I do things. But that's kind of fun about painting, right? As we were saying before, there's no like playbook. You can just kind of do what you want and see how it turns out and what you like, which is fun. Yeah, it's a whole new world, exactly. Or like if it's not something that I'm familiar with, yeah, it's definitely like a lot out there. I remember when I first started painting was like overwhelmed at first, right? You're like, oh, I need primers and I need varnishes and I need all these colors and I wanted every option. Yes, I think you're right. So, back to my earlier question about what to paint. You have to do what suits you best. I think you might risk wasting paints if you switch around too much. I agree, and that's the best thing. Like when you're doing kind of assembly line painting like this, you just like put your color out and you paint everything with that color. Also, I like that for if I'm ever mixing colors, to mix a color again a second time and have it exactly the same. It's definitely a challenge. Not that every mini has to look exactly the same. Like they're not usually on the board like right beside each other where you can see that there's a slight difference in the coloring of that one. But it has been something that I've run into before. So I do like that. You definitely waste less by assembly line painting. The other thing I've done is painted like entire games at once where like I'll look at a color and be like, oh, I need this brown, and paint every single mini that needs that color brown. So I'm like almost like assembly lining the whole entire thing, not just each group of minis. So it takes a really long time because to get anything like fully complete because you're doing all of them at once. But yeah, wasting less paint is always a good thing. I do have a wet palette that, oops, that I will use if I'm using regular paints because that can hold them for a little while. So if I need to stop painting for a little bit, I can just use my wet palette. But when I'm using speed paints, I don't do that because the water absorption in them makes them weird. Oh yeah, this is no, this is just because this mat or this actually like a Bristol board. It was what we used to use on the gaming table so that I didn't spill any paint on the mat, like on our table mat. So we just have this put down right now for that. Also helps protect the table. So it's just part of our setup now. So yes, there will be paint splatter on it, or like you can see here where like the rings from my bottles of paint or like flow aids. If we leave it there, we can see over time how the dirtiness of the mat evolves through games. All right. Okay, I think we got the red pretty much done on this one as well. So I want to let all the red dry. So I want to go back and maybe I'll do the hair and a little bit of the crossbow on them. So for the hair, I'm going to use a black, like my darkest black. So I will use Grim Black. Oh, interesting. I have a little tool to get that out, but we'll worry about that later. That's why I also have to be careful you don't just dump. I've done that before too, by accident. All right, so we'll do the hair. I'll just use that same black brush, or brush that I used to get that black out, which is just the 3. Oh, Paul, no problem, no problem. Almost 1 a.m. there in the UK. Yes, yes, yes. Please sleep. Thank you for hanging out, for sure, for sure. Have a good night, Paul. Thank you. Hopefully we'll be able to do some of these in at earlier times, maybe on a weekend. It's not so late for different time zones. This time is just super convenient for me, like after coming home from work, having dinner. But I'm thinking that we'll probably have some that may just pop up on the weekend. So let's say we are streaming something on a Saturday or a Sunday, and then unexpectedly it ends early, as we've seen before, right? In some of our games, it just ends super early. Potentially, I'll just pop a stream up of like, okay, we're gonna paint now because I have a couple hours that I didn't intend to have. Okay. I don't think anything else on that is black, so just the hairs. Oh, this is a great time in Australia. Oh, Frosthaven. I know Frosthaven happens in the middle of the day. I know. Well, I'm glad you're able to watch live now. That's awesome. Yeah, we don't really we don't do any of the Frosthavens in the evenings with the outpost phase and like the unexpected length. Like we never know how long it's going to be for a Frosthaven. So we don't usually do any of those in the evenings. I mean, maybe we could some, like if I didn't have to work in the morning, then maybe we could, but we just tend to keep it on the weekend. Just because any games that is an unexpected length of time, like we have no idea, it's just easier on the weekend. Also, too, sometimes playing like brain burning games after working is a challenge. So that's why these paint streams are going to be fun because I can just chill. I don't have to think as much. Is it tomorrow or yesterday in Australia now? Yeah. I think it's tomorrow, technically, right? All right, here is done on another one. Oh, it's almost midday Thursday in Australia. Oh, so it is tomorrow for me anyways. It's about 9 o'clock on Wednesday, 9 p.m. on Wednesday here. I think we changed the clocks back as well, or forward or something, whatever we do. We changed the clocks this weekend, I think. I think they go back, right? No, they go, I don't know what they do. Is it spring ahead? Fall back? Can't remember. Fall back. Okay. Fall back. Yeah, we're doing that on Sunday or something this weekend. It's hard now because phones just do it themselves, right? So I have no idea. Just wake up and tells me what time it is. Everything's automated now. Okay, another hair is done. I heard a comedian talking about the 13-hour flight to Australia. He left on the 10th and arrived on the 12th. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's crazy. Need like another, oh, now the lid's on, but I don't trust it. So I only need like a drop. Not getting any more than a drop. I'm just going to use this like this for a minute because I don't need that much. Okay. All right, we'll go to the bow and arrow and the snake, which we're going to do the same colors. Let's do... Actually, I think I'm just going to do plain, the algae green. I like that one. Oh, Jago says, I used to work 24-hour shifts. We'd have to do 25 hours on time change day. That is annoying. That is annoying. Okay, so this is going to be for the bow and arrow and the snake. That's around the arm. Okay, and we'll just go back to our base coating brush. And I'm not going to do the strings of the bow and arrow, just this part and the snake. Oh, I didn't realize, but there's red around the arms as well, but we'll figure that out after. I'm just seeing that now. Like the red wrapping, similar to the legs. I didn't even see that. Again, trying to get into all these little crevices, which is always fun. Okay. We'll do the same around the snake. I like this color. This is a new one that I got. Yeah, 2.01. I don't think I'd used it before today. Hmm. How am I going to get in there? Oops. That's fine. All right, so we have added in the bow and arrow and the snake. Alrighty, so I'll just do the same on the other ones. Right. Yeah, I like this algae green. It's nice. I like it. There's a different color green than the other ones in this line. I like it. All right, we got another one done. Knocking things over. after I do this part on this one, we're going to go back to our like lizards, and we're going to do the clouds on those ones and the base. What I'm thinking is I'll be able to finish those ones. These ones I still have some more things obviously to do, but I'm thinking that in the next stream, I'll pick an enemy set that only has 2 enemies, similar to like how we did the lizards. So we'll be able to kind of finish these ones in that stream, as well as start the 2 minis from like a 2 mini set, because there's a couple that are only 2 of them. And then we'll maybe kind of be able to do that. So we're like finishing one set up and like progressing the next one into the next stream. I didn't think that like it wouldn't have been that long of a stream if I just did the 2 lizards. So I thought this might be a good way to kind of like keep things flowing and still being able to like finish a whole grouping in a stream. So I don't think, yeah, we definitely won't finish these ones tonight, but we'll definitely be working on these ones in our next stream as well as 2 new ones. I'm thinking that's kind of how it'll flow. And then I'm still kind of thinking of how the dragon may take more than one stream depending on like how, like when I start looking at the details. And then I'm debating potentially, we'll see how it goes, but maybe the heroes, maybe in their own individual streams, I'm not sure yet. We'll see. Because I remember when I painted those before, I spent a lot of time on a lot of the details on the heroes because they were so nice. The minis are awesome. We're playing with them like every stream, right? So I'm still kind of thinking about what I'm gonna do with that, but that's kind of how I'm like thinking of structuring this, so we can still progress and you guys can see like finished products in at least every stream. Okay. And then we got one more of these guys. I may have to put some white on that red on the end of this bow here, but we'll see what happens. If it covers it okay and we can't notice it, then it's fine. If it doesn't, then I'll have to put some white over when it dries. Just need like another drop. Okay, and last snake here. Should I do red on the arms today? It's pretty much dried, so I'd have to get more out anyways. Can't believe I missed that. I didn't even see it. But as you'll see, if you watch me paint through this, I will definitely miss other spots. Like I just don't even see them. It's crazy. Alrighty, so we have another snake and bow done. So let's bring back, I should clean that up. Let's bring back our lizards. I just need a couple of these. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna first grab just my white paint. If I can find it. White is where? Right here. So I'm just getting Army Painter Matte White, and I'm just gonna fix a few of those small little areas that have black where I want it to be cloud. You don't need a lot. And I'm just gonna fix those up quick, and then I'll do the bases while I let that dry. And this will just cover any mistakes that I made. Just like a quick touch up. Sometimes with the speed paint, it'll like run into an area maybe you didn't want it to run. So once it's dry, I like to do this and just kind of fix any little mistakes. Okay. That's good. This is lawnmower is a little bit messier. It's all under here. I think that's good. So we'll let that dry for a minute. I'm going to do the base, which just looks kind of like rock. Yes, it does. So for this, I'm actually not going, maybe I will, maybe I will. Let's continue with the speed paint. Let's use let's use a rock, but we'll do like a brown rock. Let's use, I don't know if I want that one. Oh, here we go. Let's use this one, which is Sand Golem. I like to do dark bases, but I think if I did like a brown or something, it'll really stand. I mean, like make the mini stand out. Hopefully this is, I don't know that this is going to be dark enough now that I'm seeing it. I'm going to add in actually a drop or two of a different color. Just had it, where'd it go? This one here, this satchel brown, just to darken it just a little bit. And again, if the bases are a little bit different on both of these, that's fine. Okay, so just add a couple drops to that. That'll just darken it a little bit because that maybe looked a little bit too light. I don't want it to look like sand. I want it to look dark. And then again, we're just going to use our 3 brush. It's a little bit bigger. So I'll mix that up. With any kind of rock, you can also do a wash on it. So if you wanted to adjust the color in any way, like darken it, or I guess you can't really lighten it, but I guess you could do a dry brush on it to lighten it. You can do like a green wash even if you wanted to have like an algae kind of look. And I think actually this is, to my eye, it's looking browner than the camera. It almost looks like it has like a little bit of a red tint to it, but I see that it doesn't look like that to the naked eye. So maybe when it dries, it'll look slightly different if you're seeing like a little bit of a red tint to it. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think it is coming together. I like this one. I love painting animals and like reptiles and anything with like wings and fur. I love painting. Okay. We have our rock on that one. We'll do the same thing on our second mini. You may notice I can see them on this miniature, so there are some like cracks in the mini. We don't fill them and all of that. You could if you wanted to, but I just leave them. Again, we're just painting them for the stream, right? So I'm not trying to put them in a competition where I would want to like fill every little crack in the mini. I didn't see it on the other one, but I'm definitely noticing it on this one. And then sometimes too, I find depending on the paint you're using, so like we're using speed paints and I'm seeing it on the rocks, like you wouldn't even notice that. Maybe if you're doing something flat, but okay. Looks like we got our rock number 2 is done. Okay, I'm going to give that a minute to dry, obviously, but I'm going to, because I still think that white is still kind of drying. So what I'm going to do in the meantime, I would like to get the eyes done. I'm going to use this demonic yellow. I like this for eyes of like dragons and monsters. So I'm going to use this in the eye sockets. Oh, that came out more than I needed. Okay. I'm just going to try to make the tip of my brush as pointy as possible so we don't have paint going everywhere. And this is always the fun part, right? Eyes. Yeah, you guys can still see that, sorry. So I usually try to put like not a ton on my brush and I try to like build it up because I'm afraid to like put a dollop on it and then it's harder to fix. So I almost put like nothing on my brush and then keep going because this is like the hardest part. I think that actually looks really good in there, the yellow in there. So I'll just keep going on the other eyes. All right, I like that. This adds a little more detail. Yes, dragon eyes are easier than human eyes. I don't do human eyes. I do eye socket, like I'll fill in eye socket, but that's about it. I can't do human eyes. There was at Gen Con there was a like a painting like tutorial and it was how to paint faces. I debated going because that could be something I could definitely use. I'm not that great at it. I like to just use some speed paint and let it all just fill in for me. But I've seen some amazing videos where people like highlight and bring that out with paint. It's amazing. I can't do that yet. Something I'll like work up to, but it's definitely a challenge. Painting faces and eyes. Again, you're not going to see the eyes from far away when we're playing, but I just definitely think it like makes that pop a little bit. The other thing I'm going to do while white is still, it's probably dry, but just give it one more minute. I'm just going to do something with the teeth of this. So this corpse pale is kind of like a pinky whitish color. I'm going to use that on the teeth. I don't want the teeth like pearly white, but I don't necessarily want them like yellow either. So glad we spent our time with Lorcana instead. I know. No, I did want to go to that. I thought that was a neat thing. I can't remember exactly why I didn't, but maybe intimidation a little bit. Okay. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to take a fresh brush. So this one is just a 3-0 brush, and I'm just going to like rub it against the teeth. Just to, because like right now, because I use the speed paint, the teeth inside there are green. So I'm just going to like pop that out a little bit. So I'm not going to do each individual tooth. I'm just going to kind of like, almost like dry brushing a little bit. Like just rubbing the brush back and forth. Because I like the green underneath. Because it'll still make them look, like I don't want pearly white teeth on a dragon, right? So you can see it just kind of, and that's what they were like before. Just kind of adds a little bit. Again, these are all the little details like you don't need to do if you're painting something for the first time, but there's some bottom teeth here. I'm just gonna. There we go. So again, they're not like pearly white, but they're not like yellow. They have a little bit of that green coming through. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side, on the other. Alrighty. We got the teeth done on that one. All right, so now I think we can do our clouds. And then we'll be able to just do the ring around the base. And then that one's good. So for this, I'm actually not going to use a white. I'm going to use, I have, where that's supposed to be. I have like an off-white, almost like a little bit of a gray. I just got to find it. Found it. Okay. So this one here is Holy White. I like this one for anything that, like, I don't want to leave it white because it just looks like it's unfinished. But once I put this on, it will just add a little bit. Charlotte, howdy. Love the dragon. Thank you. Thank you. Got 2 of them going. We also started, we have 4 of these guys, which we've started
These guys we're going to finish up in the next one just because there's a little more details on that. So we've got 4 of them to this date on those, and we're just finishing up these ones for today. Okay. So we'll go with our 3 brush again. All right. And we'll just fill these in. I just don't like the look of like white. I feel like it just looks unfinished. So I just use this color whenever I'm looking for something that's like white-ish. Yeah, batch going. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying as best I can because I want to get some minis finished to stream. That would be ideal so you guys can see like something finished in a stream. So these ones are the ones that we're finishing. Those ones, those 4, we're still working on those. We'll keep working on those in the next one, and then I'll start 2 others. So those 4 will finish in the next one, and then those other 2 will kind of continue. I think that will be the best. Or if we're working on those 4 in the next one, depending on how long they take, maybe that's just what we finish and we don't start the other ones, but we'll see. I usually stream for a couple hours when I paint, but depends on how long they take. I'm also, again, not a fast painter, so. All right, so almost has not necessarily like cloud, but kind of like smoky look. I like it. I like it. So we'll just do the same thing on the other one. Sean, how's it going? I am back on the painting saddle. Yes, yes, yes. It's gonna become a more regular thing now that I have my space to paint and our stream set up here, so we don't have to tear down our game setup and then re-put it back up when we're done. I can just quickly turn on a stream. We do prime the minis first, yes. So Rob uses a airbrush, and he'll prime the minis for me. So I joke and say like he does all the pre and post. So he also will varnish all the minis once they're ready and dry. He'll varnish them all, and he sets them all up for me, gets them all ready. So I just sit down and paint them, which is awesome. Okay, and then we have our clouds on this one. I love that actually. Okay, and before I do the base, I'm going to use the same color as the base, which is why I'm going to do it at the same time. I'm going to do the nails, or like little claws. So, but for that, I'm going to use just a black, just a matte black. So I'm going to do the nails, and then I'll go around the ring of the base as well with that same color. For this one, I'm going to use this small brush, which is the 3-0 brush. If they come with a wash, do you still prime or do you just paint over top? I think that's only ever happened one time, and we did prime them. I can't even remember what mini that was, but I remember that being a situation where they had like almost like a sun drop-ish on them, but we did prime them.
But I think that I don't know if you need to. Like, I guess it's really, you're priming them really so your paint will stick. If it has something on it, I'm not sure if it would stick or not. This is not the best brush. I think I need a new one because the bristles are splitting. So 1 second. This one is fine. We'll go with this one. This one's just well, you can't really see that one, but it's a 2-0 on that one. So the bristles are splitting on the other one, so it's hard to maneuver. And I'm just going to go back in here. I see in there where I missed a little bit of the rock, so I'm just going to fix that up. There we go. Probably would never notice that, but just more myself. So that's just the claws painted. I like that. Okay. So then I'm just going to take the same black and we're going to put that around the base here. Now our clouds are still wet, so I'm going to try really hard not to touch those. Oh, this is not the paintbrush I wanted to do this with, or we'll be here forever. I'm just using a bigger one. We're going back to the 3. I have bigger than 3, but I usually tend to stick with 1, 3, and then the little ones. Just feel like I have more control. Once I get into like the 5, 6 sizes, it's scary. Unless I'm painting something that's like just huge. Maybe we'll go that way with the dragon. All right, let's see here. We can do like that. Hard to, oh gosh, that's not gonna work. Actually, maybe I can hold it like that actually. There we go. This is kind of our finished dragon. I'm happy with that actually. So let's put that down, that's drying. Is it okay to go over that paint because the green is dry because it's a different type of paint? Yes. So
it's not really going to reactivate or anything when you're just doing a solid paint over top of that. But if I were to go over the green again with that same green, it just causes a mess when it reactivates. But yeah, oh, I need to do the claws. But yes, you can go over even washes. I find that they don't necessarily reactivate the paint. So, oh, we're gonna go for the smaller one again for the claws. And dry brush I find can be a little bit finicky. Sometimes it does kind of like brush the paint off with the speed paints. But I usually just try to go carefully and make sure that doesn't happen. That's not working either. Okay, so we're gonna do the same. Let's actually see that I missed a spot under the tail, so just fix that up. Okay, so I'm just gonna do the same thing now where I just go around the base with the black. This is pretty much dry now. As I said, the speed paint's dry pretty quick. It's not 100% dry, like I wouldn't go over it, but the speed paint's definitely dry pretty quickly. And oh, and look, I missed inside there. So let me fix that too. In our basement, so. Okay, so we're just gonna go around the ring in black. Okay. I think I can I can pick this one up again. So let's move that out of the way. Here is our finished dragon. I'm pretty happy with this actually. I think it looks good. I think it's table ready. It's gonna look cool on the table. We have the twin here. I'm not gonna pick that one up because it's all wet still around. We have our 4 wraiths who are not quite done yet. Actually, I'll hold up one of these that's on these. Not quite done yet. We still have to do some detail on this. The flesh needs to be done. The bow needs to be finished. She also has the quiver in the back, and then the base. And then again, because I forgot the red around the wrist as well in the wrap. So we'll do that as well. So I think that is it for tonight. I will, in our next one, so our dragons are done. In our next one, we're going to finish up the 4 wraiths. I'll also try to get started on 2 more so that, again, we can always keep kind of having some finished products in the streams. Potentially, if these wraiths take too long, maybe that will be all. But ideally, I would love to get started into the next one that will carry into the next stream. Yeah, so I think I'm not exactly sure when that will be. I have to look at the calendar and hopefully we'll pop that up soon. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, for your support. I really, really appreciate it. All of your support is going to go back into upgrading and kind of elevating this part of the channel, like the painting. I'd like to get this happening more often. Now that I have this dedicated space, I'm definitely going to do that more. So we'll have to look at the calendar. We'll schedule some of those streams out so that you guys can follow along on the painting of this series. Again, if something pops up where we need to paint something for another game, those might pop in the middle of this series. But I think it's going to be fun to paint through the whole game together. I think that'll be fun. So I think that's kind of the plan. So again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your super chats, the new producers. Thank you for your comments, your questions in the chat, just keeping me busy while I painted today. It was a lot of fun. So happy to have these painting streams back on the channel, and can't wait to do more and just kind of hang out as we paint. So with that being said, I'm not exactly sure when the next one is, but we are streaming tomorrow. We're playing Heat with Kyle for our Thursday night game. So tune in for that if you're interested in seeing how that game plays. Other than that, I'm not really sure what our next things are for the weekend, but stay tuned to the channel and definitely things will be popping up, live streams will be popping up, and more paint streams will be happening in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good night. Bye.